Chairman, and thank all of the witnesses for being here. You know, I have the honor and privilege of representing the entire coast of Georgia, over 100 miles of pristine coastline. And we've got quite a few brownfields that have been renovated, if you will, and we've got a number of success stories. In fact, I believe that Ranking Member McMorris Rogers mentioned one about Jekyll Island, and where we had a coal plant at one time that is now a sea island, or excuse me, a turtle, sea turtle museum and hospital. And it's a great place if you're ever on the coast of Georgia and you want to see a great example of a success story with brownfields. That's one place you ought to visit. Not only that, but just the cultural aspect of seeing what they're doing with the sea turtles there when they're rescuing them is really fascinating, really good. Other examples in the first district, in the southernmost part of my district, next to the Florida state line, is Camden County, where we used to have the Durango paper mill. And they cleaned that up. It was a brownfield. They cleaned it up. St. Mary's, which some of you may be familiar with, Cumberland Island, where they have the horses and everything. That is, St. Mary's is where is the entrance to Cumberland Island, if you will. And that's one area that's extremely important to them. Another example of a success. Even with the city of Savannah, we've got some areas there where we've truly seen some success stories with brownfields. Now, I will tell you, we've got quite a few that still need to be worked on down here, and they take so long. It's just unbelievable the time that these things take. But nevertheless, it is what it is, and we have to work through that. The program itself and the protection that's provided by the program, what was a negative for many years is now a positive. And I just cited the examples of that. It checks a lot of boxes. There's no question about that. I want to ask Mr. Bolwich and Mr. Largent. I want to ask you this. I'd like for each of you to respond to a comment that was made from a former EPA official who ran the federal brownfields program. This is the comment. Please bear with me. The success of the brownfields program is in large part because it's locally driven. EPA does not select remedies, does not control land use, and provides only seed money that can be leveraged with other funding sources. EPA's grant funds can only be used for the purposes authorized by Congress. There is no limitation on the use of other funds leveraged by EPA's investment. Do you agree with that, Mr. Bolwich?
Thank you, Congressman. Yes, local elected officials helped design this original brownfields program in conjunction with Congress and the EPA. I remember when Mayor Daley asked me back in 1997 to be the chair of the Brownfields Task Force, and then worked with the U.S. Conference of Mayors in order to develop a process to get to the original bill where the tools were needed to get the job done at the local level. You know, this may surprise a lot of members of Congress. However, mayors can understand how to implement projects and get things done. And this program has been so successful at the local level, and that's why it's popular and bipartisan. It's a win for economic development, a win for the government, and a win for the residents. You know, one of the things, Congressman, and listening to all of the speakers here today, whether it was a 168-acre landfill in my city or a gas station in Oklahoma, brownfield grants have helped revitalize the community.
Now, thank you for that, Mr. Mayor. And I was a mayor in another life as well, so I can attest to what you just said, and it is important. So, and it helps.
Once a mayor, always a mayor, Congressman.
I appreciate that. Mr. Largent, did you want to respond to that? I'd asked you before. You're on mute.
I didn't know I'd get caught this time, but I 100% agree with that statement. One of the great parts of the EPA Brownfields Grants Program is that it affords communities lots of flexibility with their Plan B development of cleanup properties. And if I might refer to my notes, in fact, paragraph 6C of section 104K of the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation and Liability Act explicitly calls out criteria EPA must use to rank and award brownfields grants. These include smaller and low-income communities whose tax base is insufficient and have difficulty getting private capital. Mr. Carter, that is us. That is us in Whitman County. That
Right.
is us in Eastern Washington.
Well, I'm out of time, but I do thank all of you. This is a great program. As a former mayor, I can tell you it benefits cities, it benefits municipalities, and I'm all in. So thank you very much for this.
Gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes a gentlewoman from Michigan. Representative Dingle, you're recognized for